Peter Pearlson. Can I introduce you?
Okay, yeah, no,
we're busy
absolutely.
talking so much.
That's,
He's at the top of his game. More than 3 decades in the industry. And it's nice to have someone 4 decades, 5 decades. How old are you? 70 decades.
I kind of started in 1984, so
That's
40
something years.
something years.
4 decades in the 80s. But just to brag a bit about you, we don't always have someone that's behind the scenes, and we talk to a lot of musicians, and they always mention sound engineers. Every time we have, or most times when we have a musician in here, they'll say, the album didn't go so well, and then we phoned Peter Pearlson. And things just went a lot better. Just to say, highlight some of the guys, the international guys that you've worked with, so we just kind of put that in. I know it's many. You worked with Bono, you worked with U2.
It was interesting because I think I don't know if it was a conscious choice, but it was definitely a choice at some level to stay here. Because there was a little bit of a tug to go back and work in London when I started kind of breaking in, so to speak, when I kind of got a little bit of experience, and I thought, but I stayed, and it's been the absolute best decision that I could ever have made, because I've done so much more than I think I would have done anywhere else, and worked with the most amazing, just been blessed to have been in studio with the most amazing people.
Because you've worked internationally with Brian Eno, those guys.
I worked with Eno. Eno changed my life, and I'll expand on that a little bit more, because that's interesting.
Yeah.
And the U2 thing was really cool, but that was also related to the Eno story. The first big recording that I did with an international band actually was a band called the Hot House Flowers.
Yes, we know the Hot House.
Irish band. So I got the call they were coming to do a promo of Songs from the Rain, I think the album was, and they did a song called One Tongue.
I don't know that one.
It was an pretty much a kind of anti-apartheid song, and it was recorded in Ireland, and Hugh Masekela played on that. So it was a little bit of a sort of an anthem for South Africa. This would have been early 90s. So before 94 that we did this. I had just started investigating demo recordings and plotting the Electric Petals album. There was a band called the Electric Petals. We did an album called Pollination,
yes, I know that
which was ended up being my first Salma Award, which was great. And that's another story. But Hot House Flowers were doing a private gig at Gallo because they were signed to one of the Gallo affiliates, Polygram, I think, in those days, which is now Universal, but it used to be part of Gallo. And they did a private function for the Gallo staff up at the offices in Rosebank. And I went up, and I've actually got a bootleg recording of that performance. It was beautiful. It was very unplugged. Liam playing piano and voice, and couple of mandolins, and it was very stripped down and very cool. And the Electric Petals were playing in Rocky Street. So the band were kind of going, so what's the crack like in this place? I said, well, I'll take you down to Party Central, which is Rocky Street, and we'll go. I said, the Electric Petals are playing, who made some wine. I'm busy starting the groundwork for an album with them. So let's go down and watch the band. So I took the whole Hot House Flowers crew, and we arrived at Tandoor. Now, I was supposed to arrive at the studio at 8 o'clock on the Saturday. This was the Friday, so I was supposed to arrive at 8 o'clock on the Saturday morning to start setting up. The band had a workshop that started at 10. So they had to be at the studio at 9 to do a free workshop in big Studio 1, and I was setting up in Studio 2 for the recording because we were going to track with the band. We ended up drinking Sambuca until about 6 o'clock in the morning.
Typical.
We got absolutely legless, and I got home and I thought I have to get some sleep before, because it's a huge day. And I set my alarm and I went to sleep absolutely dead, and I opened one eye and I saw 9:20 on the clock next to my bed, and I thought, oh no. Anyway, I was kind of teeth brushed dressed and in studio by 9:30. Thought I didn't stay far, but it was a rush, and I made some excuse. But the band, whose workshop was supposed to start at 10, only got there at about 11:30.
Of course, I was going to say to you, it's no problem that you're late.
I was so pleased because I had that little bit of extra time, and it took a little bit of pressure off the powers that be, who were, why are you so late? You know.
Exactly.
So we had the whole band, Tim Parr, ex-Elemental, blah, 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 solo, big artist, was mates. He had a connection with them when he moved to Ireland, so Tim was involved in the recording. He came and played guitar. I think we had Victor Musundo on bass.
Wow.
There were, I'm just trying to remember the backing singers. It could have been Leslie Ray, Wendy Oldfield, and
So quite a collection of people.
I think we had about 25 people in the studio, and we tracked this whole thing live in one take, which is the way we tracked in those days, and it was an absolutely remarkable experience, absolutely brilliant, and they were really happy, and we all had a lot of fun. So that was quite a fun one, you know. We had Duran Duran at the studio, and they brought somebody with them. I was just kind of in and out, you know.
Hi guys. Yeah, they're amazing. Duran Duran.
Simon
Just
Le Bon.
popping. Really?
Yeah.
What?
The keyboard player, Andy Taylor.
Yes, and I think it's now you're thinking of Andy Fletcher. Is he from Depeche Mode, or Andy Taylor, who's in Duran Duran?
I think it was Andy Taylor. It was anyway. A couple of the band were really, really cool, and they had Warren Kukurulu playing with them. He was ex-Frank Zappa.
He played with Zappa.
He played with Zappa.
He's amazing.
He's amazing, but he's very American.
You like?
I did some stuff with. It's like the names escape.
But look
me.
at your
It's just
CDs, because you brought these CDs. These
Yeah,
are
I mean,
CDs of things that you've worked on.
This is my close to my heart local stuff. You know, I don't think there's any. I did the new Strawbs album.
Did you?
Yeah, that was
amazing.
cool.
That's really cool.
That was really cool. Yeah.
But I'm just looking at some of these CDs. A lot of some of them. This one I want to talk about. David's Confession.
Yeah,
You're giving one of these away.
That one, you see, that's got the booklet and it's got the
David's Confession. This is interesting because we had a discussion with Mel Botes, and he said, I think this is a conceptual album.
Yeah.
And there was a issue with the guys he was trying to explain to, and he said, you came in and understood what he wanted.
Well, it was
saved the day.
It was
in a
interesting
sense.
because there's
You know,
that was cool.
Koos kom bys. Did you do the Koos kom bys one as
the
well?
big one, that one.
Elke boemelaar se droom. This is a great, and of course, Anton Goosen se goeders. You also did Anton. You've worked with him
All
for
the Anton albums.
worked with everybody.
If you remember them,
Let's see. I'm just enjoying these CDs. So Lithium.
like Friends of Harry.
Lithium, no Friends of Harry.
But I'm looking for something specific here because
Lithium was great back.
unofficial language. Oh,
And
there we
these
go.
aren't half of the band.
Now, that is a band that
God.
nobody's ever heard of.
What? I'm not wearing my glasses. What is this?
That is, it's a kind of, it's Pink Floyd meets Supertramp meets Yes meets Nelsprite.
Meets Nelsprite.
Yeah.
Well,
And it's one of my. I always think it's one of the best records I've ever made. It's just because of possibly the relationship that I have. It's one of my closest friends is the guitarist and singer and songwriter.
what happens to music?
Well, they were UK based.
Okay.
Robbie was South African. He left South Africa a very long time ago, went to Hollywood, did a little bit of work in Hollywood, ended up in London. We recorded some demos before he left. We were very good friends already. And he partnered up with a New Zealand Kiwi keyboard player, and they just connected really well. And he said, we are writing, and we're going to come because we want to come do it with you. So I said, fantastic, let me know. So they came out in the middle of 1995, and we recorded all the rhythm tracks. And then they went back to the UK, and they wrote arrangements, and they wrote lyrics. And then they came back again and booked about 6 weeks in sometime in 1996, April, May, there somewhere. And we finished all the tracking and the mixing of the album. They went back to the UK, and they got management, and they did a couple of gigs that went down really, really well. And they approached a guy called Gus Dudgeon,
Yes.
who had worked with Elton John and David Bowie, and he was a big name. And he really liked the record, and he said, I think what you've done is fantastic, but he said, we need to create something that's going to be a bit radio friendly, because it's like a Floyd album. It's not really, there's not a single. So they started working with Gus, and Robbie was really excited about this. He said, it's no reflection on you. He said, but we've got this opportunity now. And Gus Dudgeon is like royalty in the UK music scene. And they'd started tracking all the demos with Gus, and Gus went to a party one night, and on his way home with his wife, he crashed his car and killed both of them. So
What the flip?
he said it was just the most devastating thing, number one, because he was a really cool guy.
Yeah.
And number two, everything that just went out the window for them. It was just one of those things. He went to the funeral, he said it was just like the bloody Freddie Mercury and Elton John and Bernie Taupin. Yeah, I mean, anybody was at Gus's funeral, but tragic, because he just, had one drink too many and he crashed his car.
And with that, of course.
So, Tail, we were invited, I was invited, a lot of people were invited to Sun City to go and look at the David's Confession showcase. Karen Cutts was very involved. She was kind of managing the band. She was entertainment manager of the Super Bowl, but she really took a shine to David's Confession because they were playing at Traders, which was the pub in the hotel. So they were the guest band. It was Georgia, the three brothers.
Yes.
And then Mel joined them. So that's what became David's Confession. Now, I'd worked with Georgia. I produced a single for them, and we had a lot of fun. And I completely destroyed any commercial element that they had, and the record company were furious. But we had a great time, and we made some really cool music. And then I didn't hear from them again. And then they joined Mel, and they were playing at Traders, and they did some demos with Johan Lars. Now, Johan Lars is just, bless him, because he's also passed now, the most amazing, incredibly brilliant musical genius who plays piano like Chicorea. And I'd worked with him in studio where he was producing and arranging people, and he was going to produce the record for them. And they got into studio and they started working, and Mel turned around and said, I can't work with this guy. He said, it's not working. So Andries turned around and he said, well, I've got an idea. Why don't you phone him, which was me?
You, yes.
And I think Mel was a little bit uncertain because of the size of the project, And I was running a mastering studio. I was busy recording, but we opened a mastering studio, me and a guy called David Siegel. David Siegel was Lucky Dube's engineer. He did all of Lucky's albums. He did a lot of Sipo Hot Sticks. He was the Gallo in-house guy, but he toured the world with Lucky. And we opened the first purpose-built audio mastering studio in the country. So this was 1997. Okay. So when one of us was visiting a studio, the other one would run the mastering studio. When David went on tour with Lucky, then I'd be in-house and I'd do the mastering, but I was all over the place. So Karen said, okay, we're going to drive down from Sun City and we're going to meet. So Karen drove down with Mel. I cannot remember if Andries and them were there or if it was just Mel, because the boys were happy with me. He was the one who needed to be convinced.
Right, that brags about you, sir.
So he came into the studio and he said, he was quite inflated. I know him so well now, so,
Yes.
but he came across as being quite inflated. So, he started talking about the concept and this and that, and I said, look. I said, it's amazing. I said, this is absolutely, I started listening to Pink Floyd when I was 6. So that's one thing. But I said, I have to play you some of this. And it was the Tail album. So I played him the opening sequence of the Tail record, because the whole thing is a conceptual album. And the whole story runs from A to Z. It's complete and it's magnificent. So I played him the first 3 songs. And he looked at Karen and he said, he's the guy.
Just like that.
Just like that.
The music speaks.
I'm thinking about the music and my hair is standing up.
I want to listen to it.
Such a brilliant record.
Is it online?
It's not, you will never find it.
Are you
I'll send
going
it
to
to you.
send it to me?
I will send it to you, unless you want to keep it and rip it and give it back to me, but it's the only copy I've got.
I'm going to give it back to you, because it's so precious.
It is, Robbie actually, he flew out from London for my 60th birthday to come and spend 2 days with me. And he brought me another copy because I had a copy with an empty box, and I used to reference it a lot when I was teaching. And I think I probably left it in one of the drives in one of the studios at SAE. And I forgot about it, and I went to open the box to play it to somebody, and there was no CD. So I said to Robbie,
"That's the worst feeling."
He said, "I've got one more." So that's
a very precious thing. I think I would love to listen to it. I hope you can buy it online.
Well, if you can't, it's not available.
Why are
It is
they
not
not doing-
available on streaming. It is not available for sale. It got really good write-ups. We got good write-ups in Canada, Holland, Germany. I mean, they were making inroads.
Yeah.
And then it imploded. And Michael's relationship with Robbie didn't work out. It became quite difficult, yeah.
I find it so desperately sad when so much work has been put into something and it just, I don't know, evaporates. You know?
That was insane. There's a lot of South African musicians. Kevin Kruger, bless him, he's also gone, played drums. Denny Lalouette played bass.
Good musicians.
Andy Thomas, who was also around, great drummer, played drums on a couple of songs. Robbie did all of the guitars. Michael did all of the piano, all of the keyboards.
History behind this album, like a massive history behind Tail.
Well, it was always Robbie's concept. Now, he's a very interesting guy. I'm going a little bit off track here because I phoned him yesterday because I missed his birthday, and we always have a Lefroy on his birthday. We drink Lefroy, which is fantastic, very smoky, single malt whiskey.
Sounds nice.
It's fabulous. And there's a story there as well. Well, I don't really have to go into my history of whiskey drinking because that
don't go into your whiskey drinking stories.
He, by trade, is an industrial designer. He's a very talented dude. He restores 1940 motorcycles so that they look like they came out of the shop. He builds, I have to just find this for you,
Maybe
actually. I just want to show you something. Because
online someday.
I have to show you this.
Are you going to send me the photos so that
I'm just trying to work out how to search on this bloody thing.
Searching on your phone. Is this now the industrial designs that he's done?
He's an industrial designer. And he, a friend of his, it's just kind of a chance, a friend of his came round to have a barbecue, as they do in the UK, or Sunday night or something. He was bitching about the fact that he had cracked the carbon frame of his very, very expensive bicycle. Now, all the new racing bikes are carbon fiber, and he cracked it and you couldn't get it fixed. So you had to throw it away and buy another one. And these carbon fiber frame bikes are like £5,000, £10,000, depending on where you go, but it's insane. So Robbie said, just leave it with me. And he developed a method to repair carbon fiber bicycles. So he ended up working out of his garage. Then he's opened up a factory. Now he's got like 3. He's got one in Lanseria.
Wonderful.
I don't know if you remember, if you know Lanseria.
I know Joburg.
There used to be a Ferreira's.
Yes.
He's got one of his bicycle factories, repair shops is there.
Wow.
And he's got one in London. He's going into business with a guy in Liverpool. He's just developed and installed robotics now to do a lot of the repairs. And he said it was, anyway.
But tell him we
his
want
mission
to listen to
is to get the business done.
Yeah.
Get partners in so that he can get a whole lot of money out, and he's going to go and build a studio in France. And this is happening now-ish. In the next year, probably. He's building a full multi-track recording studio so that we can go in and record the second Tail album.
Then you'll go back and you'll finish what you started.
This is good. This is going to be the one.
That would be incredible. And
so that's Tail, but it was Tail that got me the David's Confession gig. And
that got into David's Confession. So it was first Tail, and then it was David's Confession.
Well, in terms of the big prog records,
in the big
but there's been hundreds of records in between that and after that.
Of course, because these aren't half the. This is only what percentage?
Such a tiny little dent.
Of what we couldn't bring your whole
that
library.
Just because
Anton
that one,
Goosen.
that City Stud was the first. That's
is it true that he was in your studio and then he went chasing a bird or something, Anton Goosen? Yeah, he said he was at your studio. I'll actually read it to you because it's very funny.
He's one here. What can I say about Anton? He's one of my closest friends.
Yes,
Absolutely
and you're the
wonderful.
one that really made it. How was it working with him? Because he worked with you first, his first albums he worked with you,
The
which
first
is interesting.
The first album I did with him was City Stud, which is the
Yes.
one that is on that 4-album compilation.
I think he wrote somewhere where he met you for the first time, when he was
Well, I mean, it's amazing now because Anton, I'm now 62. Anton is 79.
Is he 79?
79. He's turning 80 next year. He's turned 79 on the 5th of March.
Rich career, hey?
Wonderful. And when we met, he hadn't yet turned 40. And I was about 22.
So it's a long relationship.
And he was probably the first, because he was mega in those days. I mean, he's always had this kind of Bob Dylan-esque aura of the absolute brilliance of his songwriting and lyrics and the whole persona. And he was probably one of the first kind of really big artists when I got booked, and it was like, I don't know, my mother listened to Anton Hurston because she bought the first album, Licky Boer and Tweede Laan, and the early stuff. All the stuff that he basically wrote for Sonia that he ended up recording himself, which was great. So I mean, I phoned my mother and I said, "Guess what? I'm going to be working with Anton Hurston." She goes, "Oh, that's amazing!"
Yay. My son has made it, working with Anton Hurston.
So I was this 22-year-old, very, very pale, raw English dude with hair in those days used to be quite long. And Anton comes walking into the studio, he gives me a look, and he goes, he might have said something in Afrikaans, and I said, "I'm sorry, I'm doing this Afrikaans record, but I don't speak it."
Speak it.
He goes, "You're English?" I go, "Yes." He says, "Your grandparents murdered my grandparents." And I took a look. And then he kind of said, "I'm only joking." And from that moment, we just became really, really good friends. Now, we did the City Stud album. Yeah. And it was one of Maurits's first, he'd started doing session work, but it was one of his first big sessions because we couldn't get anybody. Everyone was busy. And the producer turned around and said, "Oh, Harry, there's this hot new kid in Pretoria." He said, "Maybe give him a shout, see if he's available." Maurits. So I met Maurits then as well. And we've been mates ever since. So absolutely brilliant. So we did the City Stud album, and then I didn't hear from Anton. He lived on a farm on the Hennips River, out hours drive.
Happens often.
In Mkhalis, that area. So I was at that stage at Ovation Studios, which is where Graceland was recorded. So quite a funny story about that, because I was there.
Were you there with Graceland?
When they were recording it.
We need to get back to Graceland.
Okay. I'm just putting it out there.
Please put it out there.
That I had absolutely nothing to do with the recording of that record. That I made Paul Simon tea.
You made Paul Simon tea.
I was a baby, and I did a couple of cassette dubs for him. But I had nothing to do with the recording of Graceland, and I will get back to that because there's something that's quite funny that went out quite recently, and I'm just putting it out there that I had on record that I had nothing to do with the recording of Graceland. As much as the idea would have been wonderful, I was not involved in the Graceland record.
Okay, but you did make the tea.
I did make tea for Paul.
That's somewhat what
and
involved.
We chatted, and I did some cassette dubs for him while they were busy because they were there for a while. So that was at Ovation Studios. Ovation Studios closed. We recorded City Stud at Ovation. Ovation Studios closed. I ended up going over to RPM Studios, which was because Gallo bought Ovation and then the building got demolished. I ended up at RPM. This is now 2 years later, and we are tearing around like mad things because we are just busy 24 hours a day making all kinds of weird and wonderful records. You could do Blessed Bridges from 10 to 5, and then at 6 o'clock you start a Zulu traditional record, and then the next day you're booked on some industrial metal thing. so it was really kind of all over the show. Absolutely wild.
But isn't it amazing that you were so busy?
No, fantastic.
I mean, can you imagine that?
It gets back to just how amazing it's been because I stayed here. That kind of variety.
That is.
So I'm flying past reception with a lexicon in one arm and a microphone in the other arm, and the receptionist goes, "Somebody on the phone for you." And I go, "Who is it?" "Someone called Anton." Anton, hello. Peter, I go, yeah. He says, it's Anton here, Goosen. Do you want to make a record? I said, I'd love to. He said, I'm working on this new concept with Lucas Moreira and Helena Hetema, and I can't remember the life of me of the fourth girl who was involved, who was singing with Pete Boter at the time. That will come to me. Anyway, it was the Commissie van Onderzoek. That was the project. Winde van Verandering.
So the name again, I spoke over you. Van Verandering.
Winde van Verandering.
Winde van Verandering.
Winde van Verandering, which was a fantastic record with the four of them doing a little bit of a kind of Crosby, Stills thing with all the harmonies. And Lulu van der Walt was arranging and producing. Absolutely wonderful. Lovely Lulu. So we did Winde. And it was very well received, and it was quite a little bit left. Anton has always been quite left in terms of his political leanings. And then we saw a lot of each other. We used to go to the farm, take the kids, spend the weekend on the farm and sit outside and cook lamb ribs on the fire and walk in the bush, and it's just absolutely wonderful. And then he approached me and he said, I'm doing a new album and I would like you to produce it for me, which was a huge thing.
That's a huge thing.
And that was Dancer. So that was the Dancer album that we did. Maurits did all the arrangements, and it was the A-team playing, Kevin Kruger, Danny Lenowet, Maurits Lotz, Keith Hutchinson. I spoke to Keith this morning, actually, Keith Hutch, because that's another story. That's something I've been busy with.
I'm going to have to bring you back with all these stories.
Yeah.
It's so interesting for me, producing and producers, that you're almost part of the band.
Yeah.
But you're so reliant on that. You're so reliant on a sound engineer. You're so reliant on a producer for the sound. I heard that Mark Knopfler did the Bob Dylan one, and he nearly went insane. Do you sometimes go insane with these musicians? I mean, it's a lot to ask,
I've only, and you see, there's the production and the recording thing can be very, very close.
Yes.
You can make a lot, productions can be, they can suffer through inexperienced engineers, and productions can suffer even if you have a great engineer with an inexperienced producer. So it was a funny thing for me. I always felt much more natural as a producer than I did as a recording engineer, because I'm not a tech boy. I'm not technical.
Interesting.
I know enough. I can't build you a compressor. I can't go in and I can recap a console, but I can't go in and fix an SSL. I know how the gear works. I understand the concept of how everything works. But it's a means to an end for me, and the end is the finished picture.
David's confession.
Well,
The
finished
finish.
thing. Because for me, I don't want to lose track here.
No, it's fine. We are still on track. Because
the producer engineer thing.
Yes.
It's a very big. There's a big difference for me.
Massive.
Because in terms of recording and mixing, I can pretty much do anything to a very high standard. Doesn't matter what it is, and I don't necessarily have to kind of want to listen to the record once I'm done with it. It doesn't have to be my bag. I understand enough. I have enough experience to be able to mix anything to the highest standard in terms of what that genre demands. Production is a very personal thing for me, because it is being directly involved in the vision and the creation of the project. So it's getting involved in arrangements, in tonality, being worried about things like performance, tuning, all of those other things that you don't really worry about as an engineer, because the producer's taking care of that. And I do both.
Yes.
Because I can.
You can.
And I trust myself to record it well. Because I can, because I'm good at that.
It's actually wonderful that you do both,
Well, it keeps costs down.
Because it keeps costs down. And so Antoine would agree. But the thing to go from engineer to producer, I always found it more, I always had a kind of visionary thing with music. I started listening to music, really, my earliest memories of me wandering around, probably in a nappy. Right.
With a portable record player under one arm and a pile of singles under the other arm. I was obsessed from a toddler. I was absolutely obsessed with music. And there's a weird thing. Anyway, the production thing.
It's a great thing, you know.
Somebody approaches me to produce an album for them.
Yes.
I would really like to listen to the songs first, because I will only take on a production if I feel I can add value to it, if I can feel I can add production value to it, even if I absolutely love it. And I think, I don't know if I can do anything with this. Maybe there's somebody who could do it better than me, and it's always about the music. It's got to be about that first.
Right.
So I will take something on if I feel I can shape it, if I can add value. Now, you could play me a really, really sparse strumming acoustic guitar and vocal, and I can hear a full production in my head. So that's what happens, and I don't know where it comes from. I've never questioned it, and I just hope that whoever it is who has the tap on doesn't turn it off, because I've never taken it for granted.
No.
But I can hear the full thing. I can hear the tones, what it needs, the groove, the harmonies, where it's going to happen, if it needs a bridge, where it's going to go. I can hear all of that stuff.
Oh, yeah. It's amazing. It's an amazing gift. I can see why you and Mel worked well together, that he also sees it, but you are so reliant on your producer, on a good producer. You are so reliant on a good sound engineer, but producer makes or breaks the album.
It really is. It's both.
Yeah,
it's both. You know, so often the engineering side of it is dismissed as button pushers. It really kind of raises my hackles, because there are so many producers who have lent so heavily on their engineers to deliver that it's critical, absolutely critical.
It could screw up a whole day in studio.
Totally.
You know, I hope you and I think it's a beautiful relationship you and Anton have. Your relationship with Mel Botes, Koos Kombuis.
You see, Koos.
You worked with Koos Kombuis. Yes,
oh, that was the big one.
Elke Boebenaar syndrome. Who doesn't know this album?
Who doesn't know the guitar riff from Johnny Is Nie Dood Nie?
Wie ken nie Johnny Is Nie Dood Nie? Look at this photograph.
So that was a very difficult. Actually, it was kind of a difficult album to make, because Koos was living with Anton on the farm.
Oh, so they were living together.
Well, Koos was living in the farm was huge, so Anton was living in the house and Koos was living in one of the cottages. So
they weren't living in the same room.
Yes, I don't want to misinterpret that.
He did not.
And he was not completely stable all the time. I mean, he's brilliant.
He is brilliant.
But he was doing a huge amount of weed, and it was very difficult to get him in a kind of soberish state.
Yeah.
So it was the way that we made that album is that we put down a click track, and we got Koos into the studio with his guitar, and we put all the songs down to click. Just him and guitar.
Okay, with the click.
And then we built everything around that. Then we got in the rhythm section, got in drums and bass.
Yes.
And then we got Jethro Buto, bless him, because he's also passed now, one of the most brilliant guitarists this country's ever seen, to come into all the guitars, and he came up with that riff for Johnny, and we were there, and it was like, he said, hang on, I've got something here, and he comes up with that. I can actually, you can hear it in your head. And it's like...
And that's how you did it. That's how you made this album work, is by having that.
Well, I mean, you book the best, you get the best.
It's some kind of monster.
I mean, even the Koleskis.
But they drive you crazy.
Even the Koleskis are on there. They came in to do backing vocals.
You called everybody. Come on, we're making an album for Koos, and it literally put him on the map. It
was commercially very successful for him.
Very good songwriter.
Very good songwriter.
But you get the performance out as well.
But they had a very, very big falling out.
That's sad.
Anton and Koos, which I'm not going to go into, but Anton is my friend.
Yes. So, yeah.
There was no question about
your loyalty
where my
regarding...
loyalties were, you know.
regarding
I
that.
don't have anything against
When are
Kosi.
you going to visit
I
Anton
have
again?
a lot of admiration for him, but
Yeah.
Anton is my friend.
Okay. All right.
And we
Because
made
it
that
does
record,
happen.
and it was one of those seminal albums. It was, you know,
Is this the only one from Chris you did?
yeah.
The most important one?
That was it was the most polished one. It was the most commercially viable one. I think he didn't buy that much into commercial success. He would rather appear, because he did. I mean, the thing he did with Lloyd was superb. That first album he did at Shifty, because we did a version of Lisa Satafir on that track with no piano. We did the whole thing with no piano, and then at the very end of the song, we got Jennifer Ferguson to come in, and she played piano right at the end of the song. So she did the piano at the end of the song. But during the actual song, Lisa Satafir, there was no piano on it, and we thought that's a really cool thing to do. There's no piano on it, so it's all about the lyric,
And
then the
performance.
piano happens at the end. So that's the things that happen in studio, and it's just like, yeah, that's really cool. You know?
It's so strange how things fit together,
Yeah.
and how you placed it. And as a producer, I want to hear about you two. I want to hear how you worked
two?
with them. Yeah, it's a big thing that you've worked with you two. And
Okay,
then also
so
Brian
here's
Eno.
kind of pretty much how it went down. Brian Eno was coming out to do production workshops, and I was freelance at that stage. I worked for Gallo I was employed by Ovation Studios. Ovation Studios was taken over by Gallo. I ended up going to Gallo with the studio. I was the only one who stayed. Everybody else left. I stayed. And I'm very glad I stayed. I ended up working under a guy called John Lindemann, who is the only engineer ever to have won a Lifetime Achievement Award at the SAMAs. John. He's my second dad, John. Love him to bits. But he was very difficult to work with. He was incredibly difficult to work under, John. But in retrospect, I could see what he was doing. And he was responsible in a lot of ways for the elevation of my career. He really supported me in the best possible way, which didn't appear that way at the time. Being screamed at and called
These
every name under the sun.
mentors.
And, but he was hard. He was a hard taskmaster. But I resigned from Gallo and I went freelance. It would have been beginning of 1995. I worked for Gallo for about 9 years, in-house. And I was busy, really, really busy. And then I got a chance to work at all the studios all over town, which was awesome.
Wow.
Because obviously at RPM, you could only work at RPM, you couldn't go anywhere else. So it was a real branch out for me. It was wonderful. Freedom to go and work in other facilities. And I ended up at Bop Studios, with doing things like David's Confession, Hugh Masekela, Kaleski, the Tananas, the Sunways, all these things at Bop, which was the best studio ever built on the planet. Sitting and rotting in Bophuthatswana, not Bophuthatswana anymore, Mafeking, Mabatu. So anyway, that's another story. So Brian Eno is coming to do production workshops, and I get the call. And they said, Brian Eno is coming to do these production workshops. We are inquiring if you're available to be his engineer. So it was Brian Eno. I mean, I've been a Brian Eno fan since before I even knew who Brian Eno was. I was a Brian Eno fan.
Your mom was even more excited.
I don't think my mum actually really knew about Eno. So I said, let me check my diary. Yeah, no, I'm looking good. I can squeeze it in.
I'm available.
So I did the production workshops for Brian, and I was very, very nervous because of him, of who he was. And within about 10 minutes, we were tight. It was great.
Yeah.
He knew, he could see. I mean, I basically built those studios. We did it in downtown Studio One, and I knew that studio inside out and backwards. So any little thing that he wanted, it was immediately, okay, it's done. Oh, cool. Okay, what about this? He said, can we print this to tape? And they said, no, it's a hassle, don't worry. I said, no, don't worry. No, so there we go. It's done. You got it. It's finished. So it was very good. And he was very happy. And we got on very, very well. So that was the Brian Eno thing. I was always quite clinical in the way that I produced records.
Okay.
To the point of obsession. I could be quite difficult, quite
Meticulous.
autocratic.
Autocratic.
like firing band members when they couldn't play what I wanted them to play. Like, not nice, not cool, you know?
Okay.
Early days, I was finding my feet, but if I had a vision, I was driven into that, and nothing else mattered. It had to be that. Eno looked at me and he said, "Have you got a Fender Rhodes?" Because he wanted to put some Fender Rhodes on the song that we were doing. So I said, "Yeah." I said, "We've got a Rhodes, but I said, it's a bit noisy." And without even skipping a beat, he looked at me and he goes, "Hey man, if there's no noise, there's no music." So that could have just been an arbitrary statement, but it went like a massive old English penny right through the middle of my brain.
Yeah.
And that one statement, absolutely, I'm going again.
Yeah,
That
I'm
one
getting
statement
goosebumps.
absolutely changed my whole outlook to the way that I made records, to the way that I produced, to the way that I interacted with people, and to the way that I captured audio. Absolutely changed everything. One statement from him,
Can you believe it?
because I understood him.
Bloody profound.
Absolutely understood him. So, thing done and dusted. Went very well. Happy. I've got, as a notch on my bedpost.
Yes.
It's great. I'm now in studio. There was a rap artist from Sierra Leone whose CD I didn't bring and whose name doesn't really escape me, but it does escape me. He recorded, he was in and out, and he came down, he got signed to EMI, and he recorded an album. And the managing director of EMI phoned me, because we all grew up together. So all of the guys who were A&R directors and accountants and whatnot, they all got promoted. And as I advanced, they all advanced. So all of these people that I knew on a social level were now managing directors of all the record companies in the country. So
Yes, exactly.
I had ins at the top, which was great. So anyway, the managing director of EMI phones me and he goes, "The nameless Sierra Leone artist." I go, "Yeah." He said, "The mixes sound like crap." He said, "Do you have time to remix this album for me?" So I said, "Yeah." I said, "I need a week." So he said, "Fine. Book the time. Let me know when it's done." I said, "Cool." Because all was tracked to downtown, all the tapes were there, it was fine. So the Monday morning, the first day, and the chances are quite high that I probably had a bit of a rough Sunday night. I had many rough nights in those days.
Yes.
I had a legendary capacity for everything, and
You were young and hanging out with
I was
bands.
just for today, I was invincible and immortal. Okay, so that was my motto that I lived by. So we played hard.
Yeah.
So I was probably feeling just a little bit tender on the Monday morning, and mixing is my thing. And when you're mixing in an analog studio, there's a big setup to do. There's a lot of gear that needs to be plugged in. You've got to patch everything in, and it's a Zen headspace, and it's something that I really enjoy. So I got to the studio at about 10:15. Session starts at 10. I think that it's very uncivilized to start work before 10. I really do.
I actually have to agree with you.
So, we used to get into 6 in the morning to do big setups, but
No.
recording starts at 10.
Nothing should start before 10.
I get in about quarter to 10, and artists are sitting at the back of the studio. So I come walking in, I go, "Morning," and without even actually a greeting, he goes, "You're late."
Never say
so-
that to
It didn't really go down, went down.
never
what did I say?
insult a producer or a sound engineer, don't you know?
Went down like a pork chop at a Jewish wedding.
So now you late.
So I'd let rip. I was in a tender mood as it was. So I said, number one, "I'm here because you cocked it up the first time.
Yeah.
I'm here to fix your mess. It takes me 3 hours to set up before I even start listening to the first track. So do me a favor and get out of my room and come back later." So that was how the week started. Okay,
That's a good start.
that's how it started. So
That's terrible.
now it gets to Wednesday evening, and it hasn't got easier. I'm working my way through this record, but it hasn't got easier. At 8 o'clock, phone rings. Cell phone.
Yeah.
"Hi, my name is Candida from U2 Management. I just want to know if you're available to work with the band." And I was, number one, not in a really very good mood. And number two, I thought, yeah, right.
Right.
So I said, "Look, I'm in the middle of a mix. I'm really busy. can you phone me like in 3 hours? And I put the phone down. So about 11:30, phone rings. Hi, very demure now. Hi, it's me again. Do you have a moment? So I said, yes, I do. So she said, U2 want to book the studio and they want you to record. Can you do it? So I said, well, when? She said, Friday.
Friday.
I said, you're going to have to give me a minute on this because there's two things. I said, number one, the studio that you want is booked by me. That Friday, I'm mixing
a fantastic
I'm mixing a rap album. So I said, give me a moment. I said, give me like 10 minutes and just phone me back and I'll see if I can swing this for you. So she said, cool. So I phoned the managing director at EMI at like midnight on the Wednesday night, woke him up. And I said, Irv, I've got a situation. He goes, what's wrong? He thought that there was like blood and guts spitting on the floor because of me and the artist. I said, look, everything's going really well. But I said, you two want the studio on Friday with me. And I said, I really don't want to not do this.
Yes, you don't want
So
to.
he said to me, can you get me my master's by Monday? I said, yeah. He said, fine, take the time. So she phoned back and I said, I've organised, I've got the studio.
Got the studio.
So it was going to be Friday morning, straight through, and they were playing a gig on the Saturday night in Joburg. That was the big...
that was big.
At the athletic stadium. They did it at Joburg. It was a weird venue anyway. That's where they played.
It wasn't like the normal...
No, it was kind of Ellis Park or Standard Bank Arena or one of those.
Like
It wasn't that. They did it was the Joburg Athletic Stadium. It was new, you know. Anyway, that's where they performed. So I pushed to get this record done, and I worked straight through. So Wednesday, I probably finished very late on Wednesday. Thursday, I went straight through the night, and I put the last mix down at about 6:30 on Thursday, Friday morning. And we had a lounge with a couch and a coffee machine. I put the last mix down. I thought, cool. I'm going to just lie on the couch. No point in going home. I'll have a wash and I'll lie on the couch and I'm going to sleep for like 3-4 hours. They're not going to get here. Like 8 o'clock. Ding, 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 ding.
What does it with your
The whole
life?
U2 tech crew have arrived with all the flight cases to load in. So I literally, I went straight through. Thursday night, Friday. There were one or two technical issues with voltage things. The Edge's rig was all 110, and our step-down transformers they kept blowing up. So the tech guys went back to the stadium and they got their transformers. It wasn't a big thing, but it gave me a little bit of time to hang out with Bono. And everybody was going, oh, he's such an ass, and he's this and he's that. What an amazing dude.
Really?
All of them.
Because
They
a lot
were
of
really,
people
really
do.
cool. With Bono, I got on really well with. I took him around the studios. I took him into Studio 2 because they wanted the SSL, which was the Studio 1, big Studio 1 SSL console. I took him into Studio 2, which was traditionally my room. I did all of the kind of Anton albums, Tananas, Petals, Hot House Flowers, Tail. That was my room. It was not as fancy as Studio 1, but it was tucked away. Nobody bothered you. And it was just awesome. Wonderful. Great little room, great sound. And I took Bono in there and he goes, he said, this is magic. I'd love to have recorded here. I said, well, it would have been my first choice. I said, I recorded the Hot House Flowers. He said, oh, you know Liam. He said, he's a good mate of mine. So it kind of we got on, we connected.
Yeah.
And so we started tracking. It was very funny because there's another story here. Danny DeVette.
Yes.
The
Yes.
inimitable Danny DeVette.
Yes.
Of Void, Evoid, Petit Cheval, Electric Petals, Vonderboom, the Danny Show. Okay, Danny was running a legendary live music venue called Wings Beat Bar.
Yes.
And I used to live at Wings.
Did you
I used to go
That was your place.
and see all of the live bands, and I picked up a lot of work from bands who were working there, and me and Danny and Pat were very tight. Pat was Danny's partner, and he managed the Petals, he managed Vonderboom. It was family. So Danny phones me and he goes, you got U2 in the studio? I go, yeah. He says, well, they're going to get hungry at some stage. He said, only hand out wings menus. He said, and then me and Pat can come and deliver the food.
Everybody's cool.
I said, cool, okay. And now nobody was allowed in. It was a proper recording session, so it was not like a workshop. They wouldn't even allow the manager of the studio in. It was embarrassing because he came in and he got thrown out by U2 management. And then he crawled in on his hands and knees and sat at the back of the room. And Sam comes in and goes, are you back? He says, anyway, it was me and my programmer, a very good friend, Adrian Hamilton, who was the ex-keyboard player from the Psycho Reptiles. He was a very good mate. And I brought him in and I said, look, they might need some MIDI stuff. And I said, he's an absolute genius. He's a fantastic piano player and keyboard player and computer whiz. So I said, come and wingman me. So he said, lekker. So me and Adrian, and you too, and the management. And then Danny and Pat arrived with the food. They hand out the wings menus and Danny and Pat arrived with the food. And Bono goes into the lounge and Danny's sitting in the corner of the lounge. And Bono's rummaging through the box trying to find his food. And Danny goes, oh, Bono, he says, I took your food out. He said, I put it on the counter there for you. He said, it's very uncool to rummage through a box for your food. Mick Jagger would never do that.
Jagger would never do that.
Bono looked at me and goes, fuck off. Beep. So that was the U2 thing. We went right through, bearing in mind that I hadn't slept on Thursday night.
You haven't slept now.
We went right through Friday night until about 7 o'clock Saturday morning. I was finished. I was so tired. And the first playback is always they put down 2 takes, 3 takes, 4 takes, and Bono says, let's just take a break. Let's come and have a listen. Sits in the chair next to me and goes, I said, which one? He said, take 2. Let's have a listen to take 2. Put on take 2 and I press play. And you just and he looks at me and he goes, fucking hell. Sounds fucking great, Pete. It's like, yes.
Amazing.
And it was amazing. It was also an amazing experience because when I was setting up for the band, Larry, Adam, Edge, 3 of them, and they record in a circle, it's tight. It's like this distance from each other because they interact. It's great. It's the way that I make records. It's awesome. But I've recorded so many rock records in my life and produced so many rock albums that it could have been any rhythm section that I'd ever worked with.
Sure.
And then Bono goes in and he picks up the 58 and he opens his mouth and every hair on my body stood up. And I thought, that's what it is. Yeah. You kind of understand that thing. He's not... No. If you had to list your top 10 technically brilliant singers, Bono probably wouldn't be in that list. But what happens when there is that interaction is just unbelievable.
Magical, eh?
Unbelievable. And that, as a producer, is what you try and pull. Because you don't always get it.
No.
You have to. You've got to see it when it's going past. And you've got to grab it like that. And you go, thank you, with gratitude as it goes past. Those moments. It's not about magnetizing tape. It's about that.
It's about
the emotional connection with people who are listening to the music. And if you want people to dance, you've got to make them feel like they want to dance. If you want people to have sex, you've got to make them feel like that. If you want people to cry, you have to make them feel like they are sad. And that is what you need to do. And as an artist, it means cutting your sternum and ripping open your chest and exposing your beating heart to the world. And it is difficult. But there's nothing else like it.
Oh, that was beautiful. I just want to say, she's like, Peter.
So that's what we do.
All these stories are so magnificent. And I wanted to ask you if you don't mind coming back at some point. Because I want more stories from you. I just want to say some of your awards you've won, Outstanding Creative Achievement in Music, that was in 97, 98, your SAMAs that you've won.
8.
Congratulations. You've won 8 SAMAs.
Yeah.
Not everyone can say that. I can't say that because I haven't won.
I also, which is one of my proudest awards and no one has ever heard of,
Yes.
they used to have something called a Peer Music Award.
What is that?
And I have no idea what it was, and I didn't even know I'd been entered, but I won a Peer Music Award for the Tail album. Somebody entered it for me, and I won a Peer Music Award for Creative Excellence in Music for the Tail album. And that, for me, is one of the most important...
This album.
I'll send you a copy. When I send you the David's Confession, I'll send you tail. I will package it for you.
Just tell them that we're listening and we want to talk to them because I am so.
If you like prog, if you like something a bit proggy, if you like Pink Floyd and Supertramp and all of that, it is the most remarkable album, and I will have to sit down and tell you the story just so that when you listen to it, it makes a little bit of sense.
I would love that, and
it's just
as long as you open that studio in France and just complete
that's
what
gonna,
you started.
Well, that's going to be the last. Well, I don't know about the last. I don't want to sound dramatic, but it's Robbie says it's something that he has to do. Celtic Rumour.
Just let's talk more about all these.
Remember the Celtic Rumour. You want to know? You wanted to go through. You had some. Actually, I don't know if we've even got to your list of questions yet.
No. I can actually have questions. All I had here was something Anton Hussen said about you, which I can't find, and just your awards because I can't remember it. There's too many awards. There's CDs that you've done. Oppikopi and Daai.
So that was fun. That was Oppikopi 1997, and we recorded the top stage and bottom stage. So it's the bottom stage is kind of
Bushveld Blast.
All of the hardcore bands, and the top stage is all of the kind of like the Tananas-ish kind of bands. I think Wendy was at the top, and Benguela and those kind of bands are kind of
Benguela,
Yeah.
I forgot about Benguela.
Really?
How can I forget about
Alex
that?
is such a good friend of mine.
Tananas?
No, that's one of them. I did. There's Vinda.
There you go.
Hugh Masekela.
Fantastic.
Squeal. Jack Hammer.
Jack Hammer. So, just these
Yes.
is enough. But no, you've got more at home, and you've got more stuff.
Yeah, Horace Flowers, Unofficial Language. It's a Firetown album. Jim Neversink.
Jim Neversink.
Karma, Henry VIII.
Hey, did you work on that album?
Yeah, I produced that.
Jeez, you produced this album.
Yeah. Lizard Kings.
This.
But
Karma.
Tananas Live. Estelle Kokop, formerly of Russia. Sunways, that one album. It was Sama Award for Best Rock Production.
What's going on? And the moon is a spoon. I always
Such a
thought
great
so
record.
beautiful.
Yeah, such a great record.
Sunways. Some of these.
Well, again, it's just some of the best records no one's ever heard of. Remember Heather?
Yes.
Yeah, I did that album with
Okay. Okay.
Which was fun. Ever meet Emmanuel?
No, I've never met Emmanuel.
He was on what's the never-ending, long-running soapy?
Oh, there we
It's
go.
a dingo.
It's a dingo. There you are. It's everybody that's made it.
Mono.
Oh my gosh, Mama.
Do you know who that is?
Yes.
It's Elvis Blue.
Yeah. I want to steal these CDs. Elvis Blue, look. Oh, no. Cool.
Before he was Elvis Blue.
Before he was Elvis, he was Mono.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I'm going to steal these, and you're not going to see them again. David's Confession, we are going to give one away to
Well,
a
do you want to keep the
subscriber.
other one? Because I've got...
Mel gave me one
Oh,
to
no,
give
keep
away.
that one.
Can I keep this
that
one?
one.
I'm keeping this one because I'm giving away Mel's.
Yeah.
And I just want to say before we conclude, Jesus, is some of the guys you've worked with. I mean, Hot House Flowers are there. I mean, it's a big list here. Tananas, Gloria Bossman. Geez, Paul Hammer, you've worked with.
I've done most of Paul's albums.
The father of jazz in South Africa.
Becky Mseleku.
Yes. Eh?
Zim and Kabana.
Yes.
Winston Mankunku.
But it's rich. It's a rich history.
Louis Mschlange. Marcus Wyatt, Language 12. It's probably some of the best records I ever made with Marcus.
That's, yeah.
That Language. Do you know the Language 12 album?
When they show it to me so I can steal more stuff. I'm not going to steal it. I'm going to give it back to you.
I mean, this is also, I don't know if you never heard of them, Unofficial Language.
Official language rings a bell.
Paul Hamner with Ian Herman on kit and a guy called Pete Sclair playing bass. Ninja is on there.
Really?
Long before he was Max Normal, he's rapping on that album.
Because he was Max Normal, then the Antwoord.
Yeah, Max Normal.
But this is first.
No, this is Unofficial Language. He just came in and guested.
Oh.
He just came in and did some guesting for the band.
Behind everything, there's a history.
What was I looking for? Language 12. So Emmanuel have a... it's here somewhere.
What are you doing? You still producing?
Freedom's True.
People can.
Yeah, absolutely.
People,
that
you'll
was a
never
big
stop,
one.
will you?
That was Dancer.
Anton Goosen, dit is die album Dancer. This is
the-
probably my favorite. Marcus White.
Sandwich 12, absolutely brilliant.
Listen here,
Errol Dyers, he's also dead. There was a thing, okay, that was the thing that I made with the brothers before David's Confession.
Brothers,
So that was kind of responsible.
Georgia, these two almost go together.
I'm going to tell you one more thing.
Yes, tell me, I want to hear.
Which is just amazing. It's just those moments
Yeah.
that happen.
Yeah,
When I was in-house at RPM, you just get booked. You don't really have much control. People phone and they say, I want that engineer. Because we had
Yes.
about 12 engineers on in-house. And I was busy. I got booked all the time to do various things. I worked with Kevin Kruger and Dan Hill solidly for about 6 years, every day, doing all of that middle of the road, kind of Blessed Bridges, Sonia, Ken Mullen, all of those kind of middle of the road records. Well, I learned so much. I never played the
middle
records
of the road,
afterwards.
but it's.
But
really
I mean, they
kind
sold
of
hundreds
jewels,
of thousands
eh?
of records. I mean, they really sold a
Yeah,
lot.
they sold it.
And I learned so much from them musically because they were just so brilliant. Kevin was so brilliant. Dan as well. But I mean, I go in. It must have been at the end of the week, when Thursday, Friday. No, booking has come in for you because I'd just been working my buns off and I was like really tired and there was a little bit of a gap coming up and I thought, I can actually breathe, you know.
Yeah.
No, you've been booked for the whole of next week, Monday to Saturday, 10 to open end, which means 10 until whenever, midnight. And I said, well, but who? It's a band called Cactus. I said, well, I've never heard of them. He said, well, it's somebody called Dave. Dave requested you. You have to do it. And I was like kicking up a bloody fuss. It's like, I don't, anyway, I ended up buckling as you do. And I thought, okay. So I came in with like a thick lip on the Monday morning. I really didn't want to be there with this band who I knew nothing about.
On a Monday morning.
On a Monday morning. And we're going straight through the whole week. So Cactus, the principal songwriter and guitarist is a guy called Jason Lurie.
Yeah.
Jason Lurie he opened up all of the Moyo restaurants,
Yeah,
amongst
that's why he's
other things. Jason, absolutely
He
brilliant.
opened, all that whole line of restaurants.
All of them. Well, he opened, it was Moyo was his thing.
Yes.
He had one in Norwood, and then they did the huge one in Melrose Arch, and then they did Zoo Lake and Durban and Cape Town,
All
and everywhere
over.
he did Moyo. Anyway, he was the guitarist and the singer, and he had a little girl with him, Amanda, who was the singer. And the rhythm section that they booked was Ian Herman on drums, Paul Hamner on piano, and Andre Abrahams on bass. That was the rhythm section, with Victor Masondo producing. Now, I'd never really worked out with Paul or Ian. And Ian was so completely blown away with my drum sound, because one thing that I've always been good
Yes,
at
you've spoken a lot about
is my
it.
drum sound. I've always had a good drum sound.
A lot of people have spoken how you
Irrespective
set
of
up
that.
drums.
So drum sound.
Yeah.
That's that thing.
Sound.
So I've always managed to get off kind of that being a thing for me. It's always been like, that's the heart and the soul. And, I can't get drum sound in 10 minutes. What are you doing in studio? So, anyway, Ian was blown away by the drum sound, and Paul loved my vibe. We just got on really well. So they were booked for 2 or 3 days to get all the rhythm stuff done. And Paul came to me and he said, my bro, we're doing something like called unofficial language, and we don't have much money, but would you record it for him? I said, absolutely. Yeah. And it was Paul and Ian and a guy called Pete Scalera on bass. But that's the second unofficial language album, whichever one
Yes,
you've got
the
there.
one that I've got.
The first one was
the
called,
second one.
that's the second one. I've got the first one. Yeah.
Moves.
That's the first one that we did. And we did that in like 2 days or 3 days. And from that meeting, from that not wanting to do that record and interacting, I ended up doing all of the Paul stuff, all of the Tanana stuff, all of the unofficial language stuff. All of that came from that meeting with the rhythm section with Ian and Paul and Andre. Amazing. And I could have turned around and gone, I'm not doing it.
You could have been a real... I just don't think people should book you on a Monday morning before 10.
Monday's a good day to start a record. It's kind of a good day to start a record.
It's a good day to start a record. Any day is a good day to start a record with Peter
absolutely.
Pearlson. I'm very grateful that you came. I hope that you'll come back. Will you come back and talk to me again?
Absolutely.
Please, can you? And I mean, 8 Samas have worked with the country's top international. Congratulations on a phenomenal career.
It's been such fun.
It's The man behind the scenes.
I am blessed beyond words to have been and had the career that I've had and still have.
Thank you for these albums. Thank you.
I worked with...
that we can listen to them. I'm going to give them back.
As I said, the Straubs. I did the new Straubs album.
Zach.
With Dave Cousins. Now, I mean, Straubs I grew up with. Hero, Heroine and Grave New World and you know, Lay Down and well, I mean, it's just amazing.
Do you, just to conclude, don't you think it's kind of sad that you can't hold a CD?
I couldn't find it. I've got it at home, the Straubs disc.
Yeah.
But no, I think it's absolutely horrible.
I think it is horrible too.
You know, I'm doing quite a lot of vinyl remastering at the moment for a guy in Joburg. I've remastered specifically for vinyl. I've done Jaluka, which was awesome. Mendoza, Brenda Fassi.
Amazing that the vinyl at least.
Harari, Stimela. I've done a whole lot of stuff for remastering for vinyl. And he sends me all of the records. So I've got all of these beautiful records. And that was always my thing. Yeah. I mean, I worked at Sigma Records in Somerset West when I was at school.
You did.
With Shiloh.
Shiloh just wanted me to ask you a story quickly before we go. He said that you worked at his record store when you were young.
Yeah.
And he said he left you there. He went into Cape Town and he came back and you were young. You were still in school or something.
I was about 17.
And then he left you there the whole night. And
he left me there when all the other shops had closed.
I think he just wanted to say he's sorry.
He nearly got a slap.
He nearly got a slap
from me.
Thank you, Peter Pearlson. I look forward, please come back and talk to me again and bring more mountains of CDs.
Are you going to keep those?
No, I'm not going to keep them. This is history. I'm just going to...
You must just tell me.
You must
just tell me what you want. Look, I'll send you Tale, because I'd love you to hear it. And I'll send you David's.
Thank you. David's Confession.
I mean, you've got it, but I'm going to send you the proper one where you actually hit the start and it starts at the beginning of the song and not like 2.5 bars in.
We're giving away one David's Confession that I got from Mel, if you subscribe. And thank you very much, Peter Pearlson.
Hanlé, it's been awesome. I told you that I would just, you know.
I loved it.
I haven't even started.
You haven't even started. I'm going to chapter 2, part 2, coming soon with Peter Pearlson, the man top of his...
We didn't even get to like Akadis and Pete Buerter and the Jackhammer album.
That's why we have 2 episodes.
Yeah.
2
and
episodes. And Anton. Yes.
So many Anton stories. So many stories.
We're going to carry on with the stories.
So many.
Thank you, Peter Pearlson.
It's been awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.